Welcome to Goose. Welcome to Goose Island. Welcome to Goose Island Brewed for Food Education Series. My name is Jesse Valenciana, and this is Meet Jesse.
Meet Jesse.
I'm going to show you how to make the best burger on the grill for your next holiday party. Now, ingredients are super important. Never cheap out on meat. We've got some really nice grass-fed beef. It's 85-15, the ratio. So when you go to your butcher shop or the local Whole Foods, ask for that. Grass-fed, and it makes a big difference at the end. So we've got 2 pounds of beef right here, and I'm going to portion it into 8 balls of meat. And a lot of people think that you're supposed to grab the meat and make these little meatballs. Well, you don't want them too compact. You just want them nice and naturally flat. And just shape them with your hands. Don't fuss with them too much. Don't abuse your meat. These are going to be 1/4 pound burgers, but with double patties. So make sure all your patties are about the same size. I like to say a palm's size, but everybody's hand's different, so that's misleading. So you don't want to fuss with these burgers too much. Some people like to add ingredients into their meat, chopped peppers, eggs, all that shit. You don't need that. These are very basic. This is good meat, so the flavor of the meat should really shine. I just like to add a little bit of salt. Kosher salt, always. What I recommend is get yourself a good grinder boy to grind you some black pepper. I've got a guy named Mike Smith. He grinds the pepper for me. Ain't that right, Mike?
Yep.
So you've got some salt, you've got some pepper, and I'm gonna throw some onion powder on there, just a little bit more flavor. Since these burgers aren't really squished and compact, I like to throw it in the freezer so they retain their shape when you throw them on the grill. So now that these burgers are done, the patties are done, we're gonna put them in the freezer, and we're gonna start making our aioli, which is a fancy mayonnaise. Actually, aioli really means onion and garlic. This aioli recipe has got about 7 ingredients, really simple to make. It's a little bit of time consuming. So let me show you what we have. A little bit of water, we've got garlic, egg yolk, a little bit of salt, grapeseed oil, extra virgin olive oil, and my special ingredient, a little bit of chipotle. It'll give the aioli a kick. So what you want is 2 different sized bowls, one bigger than the other, a dish rag, and a good old-fashioned mixing stick or a whisk. So we get the large bowl, set it down, we get our dish rag, set it in the middle, almost like making a cloth snake.
Snakes?
And what this does, it keeps your small bowl from turning when you're whisking or mixing stick beating. The egg yolk, add the water, start whisking a little bit, add your garlic. So the original recipe that I used calls for a small piece of garlic, but traditionally garlic is actually just garlic. Traditional aioli is just oil and garlic. So garlic is really a driving flavor of that. So for this, we're using a little bit more garlic than most. Start getting nice, thick in there. Then when you add in your grapeseed oil, you want to be slow with it, very deliberate. I'm going to do about a teaspoon at a time. And I'm just kind of eyeing it right now. Now we're going to add our extra virgin olive oil.
Hey Jesse, is it done yet?
It's not done yet, Mike. Now we're going to finally add our chipotle chili. Now that it's nice and thick, we're going to save it, put it in the fridge, put it to the side, work on our bigger onions. So this next recipe is one of my favorite toppings for this burger. It's my Mike Smith Honker's Ale onions. Thanks, Mike Smith. So the original recipe calls for grapeseed oil. Since I don't like using grapeseed oil because it's healthier than rendered duck fat, I'm going to use rendered duck fat. So use about a tablespoon and a half. Woo! It's popping. It's popping. So you let it melt a little bit. Now you add your onions. Cover them up. This is a very healthy diet. It actually burns fat. And we're going to add a little bit of beer. So the total process is going to take about 20 minutes, but you really have to keep your eye on it because the onions are caramelizing and they're getting brown and the sugars are coming out. You don't want them sticking to the bottom and burning. So what you want to do is, once you see the beer evaporate, add a little bit more beer. Ooh. Smell the onions, the sweetness of the yellow onions. Always use yellow onions. And I use one medium-sized onion for this recipe. Always make sure to taste your beer. Make sure it's tasting good. Oh, that's really good. That means the onions will be really good. There is no set amount of beer for this recipe. You just want to eye it. Make sure once the beer evaporates, you throw a little bit more. And it's really all about eyeing the onions. You want them to be nice and brown. Nice and brown, just like me. It smells like White Castle and regret. Look at the onions, they're nice. The onions should be nice, brown, caramelized. And that's why they call them caramelized onions. Okay, so we've prepared all of our ingredients that need to be prepared. Okay, now that we've got our ingredients prepared, our beer onions, our aioli, we've got some other ingredients, condiments that we want to add to our burger. I got a little fancy with some butter lettuce. Come on, spend that dough, get that butter lettuce. I got some classic pickles, nice and crunchy. I got some potato buns. Potato rolls are great because they don't have a lot of crazy flavors. I know you can go to the fancy hipster place down the street and they'll give you brioche or those terrible pretzel rolls, but they're really thick and they take away from the flavor of the meat. That's just my opinion and it's right. What makes this burger amazing? It's the cheese, man. It's a cheese. Old Grinder Mike over there told me to always use pocket cheese. This is crafty cheese that I got from the local cheesemonger down the street. Delicious. Shall we? All right, the debate is, what's a better burger? A grilled burger or a flat top grilled burger? Today, we're gonna find out. So I brought my cast iron griddle to settle this debate. I'm gonna grill 4 patties on my cast iron and the other 4 on the actual grill itself. So the patties been sitting in the freezer a good amount of time, so they're nice and not solid all the way through, but they are keeping their shape. I actually used some leftover rendered duck fat on that griddle to get it nice and lubed up. We're putting them seasoned up because we're gonna flip them over and re-season them with salt, onion powder, and pepper. If you put the seasoning part down, all that seasoning is gonna get lost. We just have to keep an eye on them, let them heat up a little bit, soften up, check the doneness. We'll be good for a minute. And this is great. My grill is at about 425 to 450 degrees. All right, it's been about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. I'm gonna flip over my patties that are on the cast iron, season them, and I actually have a panini press that's gonna put some pressure and push that meat down onto that griddle. Nice. So I flipped my burgers, gonna throw some more salt on there, more onion powder, and more pepper. Thanks, Grinder Mike. And then I'm gonna put my panini press on top of it. Now, if you can't find a panini press or don't have the money to buy one, go find yourself a brick, wrap it in foil. It's a poor man's panini press. gonna set it on top of my burgers. While I do that, I'm gonna flip over my other burgers that are directly over the heat. So now I'm seasoning these burgers. This is my first time flipping these over, the patties that I put over the actual grill grates. Again, salt, a little bit of onion powder. Oh, that onion powder looks like a party. An onion party. And some pepper. No, no, ah! Now remember, these were pretty thin burger patties, so you only really have to flip them once. So it's about 2.5 to 3 minutes per side. Now we're gonna add our cheese. Remove your panini press. Have Grinder Mike come over with the cheese.
It's just Mike.
It's Grinder Mike. So we spent about 30 seconds on the grill. That's all you need. This cheese is not too thick. We're gonna get the patties off, let them sit and rest. Now, while your hamburgers are inside resting, a nice little added touch is toasting your buns, because everybody loves a good toasted bun. So you want to make sure to keep an eye on these buns. Depending on how hot your grill is, they can get burnt really quick. So it's been about 40 seconds and we're ready to get them off the grill. What I've got here is 8 delicious patties. Let's go dress up our burgers, eh? Yeah? Shall we? Our buns are toasted, our burgers have been resting. Now I'm going to show you how I prepare my burger. We've got our beer onions. So I like my burgers nestled on a bed of onions. Put the onions down, and then I'm going to put my aioli on the top bun. And make sure you have a defibrillator handy, because you're going to have a heart attack. Double patty. Double patty. Some pickles first. Now we got our fancy butter lettuce. And your burgers are complete. Holy shit. That's good. Grinder Mike, come on, get over here. I'm getting the onions, crispness from that lettuce. That aioli is spot on. That American cheese, you can't mess with that. It's perfect. It's a delicious burger. I just tasted the grilled burger. Now I'm gonna take a bite of the grilled burger. Interestingly enough, I'm getting more of the onion flavor on the grilled burger than I am on the griddle burger. The grilled burger's got a lot of flavors going on. You know, it's a lot because it cooked in its own fat. It's still amazing. They're both amazing in their own right. So there you have it. 2 great burgers, same exact recipe. Each have different flavors. Have a little beer, some burgers, and you're done. Recipe below. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. This has been Meet Jesse. Until next time.